Yep.
Like I've said, we've got a physical body, we've got a mental body, we've got an emotional body.
Yep.
And it is the mental body, the rules and regulations that constrains our emotions and says, no, 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 you mustn't go there, put it to one side, don't behave like that, yeah? So the mental body is the problem. And the thing about writing is that you engage with your physical body. The act of writing by hand, it's got to be by hand. You can't do it on the computer.
Typing. Yeah,
You've got to write it hand. Yeah, no, you got to, it's got to be handwritten. The process of doing that sends the mind into a lull space.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right. So it actually.
So, and because you sort of write, and because you're doing it within your own space, the mind then doesn't censor in the same way. It recognizes that you're doing it in a safe space. And so you, the more you write, the more the emotions will surface in a way that they wouldn't if you were to engage with another person.
Hello and welcome, Campbell here from Spiral Up. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And today we have Sal back, Salvador.
So what is important right now is that somehow we have to rise ourselves, and this is all part of it. What is happening right now is part of it. The waking up is part of it. But this is only the first step. We need to wake up, and we need to begin to work on ourselves. We need to begin to deal with our traumas from our childhood. We need to learn how to forgive. We need to learn how not to be a victim by letting go, by forgiveness, by basically beginning to get in touch with our love, by having compassion, and by loving ourselves. This is so, so important. It's really at the heart of it. It's easier said than done. But we need to look inside. You know, we are a microcosm of the external world. So right now, the microcosm inside of us, we've got a mind which is acting like a jailer. The mind is full of rules and regulations, and it's telling us how to behave, how to be, and it's controlling our emotions, and our emotions are being suppressed. And so the suppressed emotions, which is the traumas of our childhood, we don't express ourselves. We don't express what's truly within us. And our minds are controlling us. We are, you know, this is the joke of mankind, that we've got people outside controlling us by telling us to learn how to control ourselves. And that's what we've been doing. And every now and then they feed us little bits of information to maintain the narrative of how to control yourself. And that happens through the news media, yeah, the books, the teachers, the schooling, the external world. The whole purpose of the external world teaching is to teach us how not to think, how to accept what we're told, how not to question. And what's happening now is we're learning, finally, some of us, to question. And that is the very, very first step, because as you question externally, perhaps you will question internally as to what your beliefs are. You know, I believe the universe was created, well, it's a belief. I believe in religion, I believe in history. They're beliefs. Yep. They're just beliefs. You've been told this. Yeah. I'm a Catholic. It's a belief. You've been told this. Yeah. And we need to begin to free ourselves from all belief systems. And instead of being guided by our minds, to be guided by our feelings. To be guided by feeling, not emotion, but feeling. Feeling is in the heart, emotions is in the lower abdomen. Yeah, they're quite separate. We need to understand, we need to learn to separate the meaning of emotion from feeling. Really important, because language is another way by which we enslave ourselves. The way we use words is self-slavery. Yeah.
Spelling.
There you go. Yeah. so I'm still digressing. So come back, focus. So now we acknowledge perhaps that we co-create our own reality. Our co-created reality at the moment is shit, really. So the aliens, the true humans, their co-created reality is one of beautiful love. There's no way they're going to come here and pick up all the shit and put it into their spaceships. Because the two are just so far apart, they cannot coexist.
Yeah.
It's like oil and water.
Yeah.
You can never blend them properly.
Yeah.
So what we need to do as human beings, and this is why I and other people like me are here, we need to raise our level of consciousness. It is so, so important. My second book will be a step towards this as well. And as we raise in our consciousness, so we get to a point, we need to go above 450, because beneath 450, we will never hear the aliens talking to us in our heads. Yeah, because we can't hear. We need to be quiet. To be able to hear anything from beyond us, we need to be quiet inside of us. And our brains are talking all the time. Yeah, the head's always going. How can you hear anything when your head's going like that all the time? You need to find internal peace.
Yeah.
If you want to hear someone else's mind, your mind's got to shut up.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a prerequisite. Right. So if you want to hear telepathic communication from the aliens, you need to shut up in your head. You need to be quiet. You need to be at peace. So your level of consciousness has got to rise. However, if you achieve this, and I assure you that 4 billion people on this earth will have achieved this in 25 years' time, which is why we're here. Those who have achieved this, they will hear the call from the aliens. In fact, they will hear the call, not from the aliens themselves, as from the alien ships, who apparently can communicate with 1,000 minds at the same time. So the heart of each spaceship, now these spaceships, and I will show you proof of them, these spaceships, they're 1 mile deep by 7 miles wide. They can hold 51 million beings each. Each spaceship, or most of them, have about 12 million spaces reserved for themselves. So that means about 38 million human beings per spaceship out of 167 spaceships. And if you work it out, you'll find that there's enough room for the whole of mankind. Okay, if you work out the maths, you'll find there's enough room in there for all of mankind. However, only 4 billion will go up.
We'll be ready. Yeah.
And the way that this will work is that a year before, so 24 years from now, the 15 spaceships will appear around the Earth at a time. And the very first spaceship will be there to carry people like myself, whose level of consciousness is above 800 by then. I got to tell you, I won't be going. I'm dying. I'm dying on this planet. I already know my death. I know where I'm going to be, and I know that I'm dying on this planet, and I accept my fate. But I'm not here for me. I'm here for you guys. So there will be 15 spaceships, and basically they will start skimming from the top. The ones with the highest levels of consciousness will be the ones who are uplifted first of all. And it will take roughly about 10, 11 months for each 15 spaceships to come and take the next lot of people. And each spaceship's got about 640 space shuttles. So we're talking motherships, and they've got about 640 shuttles, and they can go from the edge, about, I don't know how high we're talking about, but where ISIS is at the moment, that sort of height, from the edge of space, they can come down to ground within 20 seconds. So it's like straight down. And so we're talking 640 every 30 seconds. 640, give or take, every 30 seconds worldwide. And they will be uplifting people who will be already at predestined, designated spots. They will have been telepathically told exactly where to be at a given moment in time. So these spaceships, so these shuttles, they will be darting all over the place. There'll be no way of pinpointing where they are. The whole thing will be too fast. People will be coming together in groups of 23. So 23 people will accumulate at a spot somewhere, and boom, spaceship will appear, quick in, out, and so the whole thing will proceed. Yeah, it will take them about a year to airlift the 4 billion. A bit less, well, less than that, and that process will continue. There will be about 2 billion people who will not hear the call. They'll still be lost in their egos. They'll be lost in fear. I can guarantee you that most of the governments, most of the people who call themselves the governments, they won't be going up, because their life is about power and control rather than about love. Yeah. And they will of course try to communicate with the aliens from the word go, but the aliens, the true humans, they will ignore them because they have nothing to do with them. They're not interested in them. They're impervious. I think by the second lot of spaceships, there will be some sort of fracas whereby they will try, I mean, the governments, they will try to communicate, they will be ignored. Eventually they'll begin to realize, hello, they're not answering, they're not doing. So now we're going to get stroppy with them. We'll start to send our military, but a point will come when all electromagnetics will be switched off. So they will not be, bear in mind, we're talking 15,000 plus years of technology way ahead of us. We just cannot conceive. We don't have, we're like ants. To them, we're like ants. Our technology is like an ant. So they have no interest in crushing us. They want to save us, but we will self-exclude in our fear. However, over the period of the 11 months, you will be airlifted, and from there you will go to different places. Some planets will be new planets. Some planets will be shared with other true humans. I imagine that what will happen is that the more evolved of mankind, the ones at a higher level, will go with the true humans. The ones which are high but lower evolved will go to lower evolved planets. So there will be, there'll be a mix and match out there, but wherever you guys go, it will still be far better than here, I tell you, by a long shot. There are 7 races. The biggest race, about 154 ships, come from one of the races which have come. They've traveled, to put this into perspective, they've traveled 14.5 light years to get here. No, sorry, they've traveled I don't have the figures in front of me, but I think they've traveled about 3,000 so light years, and it's taken them 14 and a half light years to get here, roughly about half a light year a day. And they've already been here for about 15, 16 years. And so, you know, by the time this happened, they will have been here so many years. And you think, well, why has it taken, you know, why come so early? Well, they don't want to be late for the party, guys. You know, when you come from such a distance, 3,000 light years, you come from such a distance to help us. They're the ones who've come with the largest amount of spaceships. And they've brought half the world with them. You know, their lifespan is about 450 years or so. And their journey from start to finish is going to be about 100 years. So they've brought their families with them. So half the world has come with them. And they've brought their families with them, you know, because it's going to be about 100 years of their life. You know, I compare this to what the British did with Dunkirk in the Second World War, when, you know, they were all left in the corner with the Germans coming them in pincer movements all over the place. And then everyone in the UK who had a boat, they just went across the channel to bring them across. It was a huge concerted effort. It was a glorious time for the British people. It was a heroic time, what they did at that moment. I wouldn't say the rest of the war was heroic, but that particular moment was a heroic moment. And I compare what these true humans are doing for us, heroic in that sense. You know, to give up 100 years of your life with your family to save us from this cataclysm, because they know that we're here and they know that we need saving. So what are we going to do in turn? And this is what we're going to do. Right now, with a few others, we're beginning a process of beginning to help people to raise their level of consciousness. It's like tuning forks. If you've got a tuning fork that vibrates to a strong enough frequency, it begins to affect other tuning forks next to them. With our love, we can begin to affect others around us. And it is the love vibration that helps us, those who are ready to awaken, to begin to wake up and begin to deal with our shit. And we all have a lot of shit inside us. And we need to deal with that. We need to start forgiving ourselves. We need to start to forgiving our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our teachers, everyone who's done us harm in the past. We need to let them go. We need to let the victimhood go. We need to be true to ourselves. We need to start to love ourselves, truly love ourselves. And we need to recognize that we're damaged, that we all have an ego. The ego doesn't go away. The personality does not disappear. I am Sal. I've got a personality. I am damaged. I sound like I'm one of these 12-step circle for the alcoholics. I am Sal, okay, and I am damaged, and I'm fine, and I'm okay. I love myself. I accept that I am a damaged human being and that I will always be a damaged human being. But you know what? There's something else within me that is filled with love. And that part of me that's filled with love loves the damaged part of me. Hear those words.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, damage is
to
just
love the
effective
damaged
as well.
part of us. Because,
you know, if you can learn from that and grow, then it's a good thing, isn't it?
yeah. And the problem with mankind is that we hang on to the emotions because our minds are keeping us enslaved, and they're holding, so we don't release the suppressed emotions, and then we become reactive. You know, someone processes, don't talk to me like that.
Where's
So
your ding?
we need to learn. So within the next 10 years, those of you who can hear me, within the next 10 years, we need to grow to 1 billion people. So You guys are listening. You're waking up. You call yourself the awake. I'm saying, no, you're not awake. You are waking up. You're waking up to your enslavement. Now we need you to wake up to your love. We need you to wake up to your higher soul. Well, to your soul and your higher soul. To wake up to your love is to wake up to your soul, the soul that connects with us, that engages with us in love. But we have a higher soul. You'll get to that if you go above 550. But even if you just at 450, you wake up to your soul, you wake up to your love. We need to do that so that we can help other people around us to wake up, because other people are ready. They really are. They're ready to wake up. They're just like the rest of us. They've been enslaved. They've been seduced by all this narrative that it is natural to obey. It is natural to believe what you're told. It is natural not to question. And it's time to wake up to the grandeur of what we truly are. And to wake up, like I said, is to wake up from everything. Is to wake up from all the narratives, whether they're religious, whether they're political, whether, even political, whether they're historical, whether they're scientific. We need to wake up. The world is filled with theories. Some are closer to the truth than others, but they're still theories. They're still theories. We need to wake up. We need to start listening to our hearts. So anyway, so the aliens will come for those who are ready. 10 years, 1 billion, 25 years, 24 years. We need to be 4 billion strong. And you know what? If within 10 years, we will. If within 10 years, as we become 1 billion strong, the power of our love and our reality will blow the world apart from the darkness that it is today. The light will come in like nobody's business, because each person who is awakened. Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to connect with Charlie for a second. Right, Charlie. So are you all there? At level 450, how many people around us, talking like a tuning fork, how many people around us are we influencing at level 450? More than 10, more than 20, more than 100, more than 100. We're at level 450, we're influencing more than 100 people around us. At level 550, how many people are we influencing around us? More than 100, more than 120, 130, 140. So by the time we reach 500, we're more than 130. By the time we reach 600, how many people are we influencing around us? More than 100, more than 200. So at level 600, more than 300, more than 4, more than 5, more than 6, more than 1,000, more than 1,500, more than 16, 17, more than 18, more than 1,900. So as we keep going up in consciousness, our influence spreads wider and wider and wider. And this is what we're influencing is collective reality. The more of us, the faster the world will change. We want to change the world. We don't change it politically. You can't. Politics is a game of give and of take. Give and you give, I take. The world, politics, you give, I take. The only way to change the world, and we need to do this, and we must do this, and we will do this, is by changing ourselves. And we change ourselves by self-love, self-forgiveness, and then forgiving our environment. And we don't have to do anything. All we have to do is meditate and focus on our love of self, on our love of family, on our love of our friends, people around us. We focus on love, we change the world. Simple message. All begins with loving ourselves, mates.
And it's the same message we've been given forever, right? It's always the same message. It's
Yeah,
connect out
and
and
yeah, but the problem is that the cards have been stuck against us.
yeah.
And I'll tell you, they're still stuck against us. I mentioned about the moon, how the moon is part of that planet that got destroyed, and that's been here for 3.5 million years. Now, before that, there was no moon, and you mentioned the Vedas, and the Vedas, they talk of a time when there was no moon, when there was darkness. But the moon has an unfortunate side effect on mankind, and it's had this for 3.5 million years. And there's something which I call the critters, and this is a low-level parasitical soul energy. Soul energy is in everything, and soul energy was in certain amphibian life forms in this planet. This planet contained a lot of water, and some of that water is now on the Earth. And when that planet got destroyed, which was an immediate thing, there was a lot of souls in this sea world, which they were sort of developing, they were growing, but they hadn't developed an oversoul. They got trapped in a limbo place, and their focus, just like you say, well, why do our souls or fragments of souls, why do we keep reincarnating on this earth? And the reason is because we're sort of stuck in it. There's some sort of pull. I don't claim to understand everything right at this minute. Hold on, let me just close this a little bit because I think it's affecting the other way. I think that's a bit better. And so for whatever reason, those souls which did not have an oversoul, they got stuck with the moon within their own, because souls, they don't exist in the three-dimensional world. We exist in a world of dimensions. The dimensions, they're all here with us. We coexist with other dimensions. There is no separation. Like we ourselves, we're quite permeable. At the atomic level, we're full of holes, and there's plenty of room for other dimensions to interact with us. As far as I'm aware, there's 18 dimensions.
Yeah.
Anyway, these souls,
different frequencies.
Different frequencies, but still interacting.
In the same space. Yeah.
So anyway, these So these very, very low-level souls, they interact with us through our second chakra. Now, our second chakra has got a purpose, but the second chakra's purpose is for our fragment of soul. And I've done a video which is out now, which I talk about these things. Yep. I only put it out last week.
Below, yeah.
So these fragments of souls, these fragments of souls, they connect with previous lifetimes. So each lifetime has got its own fragment of soul, but we connect with them because there's whole part of the same soul. We connect through the second chakra, and it is this fragment of soul that it is meant to be operating in conjunction with us in our hearts, except we're lost in our egos. And part of the reason why we're lost in our egos is because of the critters, which for the last 3.5 million years, they have been feeding from our fear. Yeah. Fear is a biological necessity. Fear is, all creatures on this earth contain fear. Fear is a hormonally induced generation within the body, so that we will react to an event that is dangerous to us, whatever it is, whether it's from a precipice coming towards us or an animal that's dangerous. It doesn't matter what it is. Our mind interprets fear and straight away, instantaneous poof, hormonal discharge generates all these hormones that generate our ability to react to the fear. Yeah. So fear is healthy. What isn't healthy is ongoing fear.
Yeah.
If you're in fear all the time, that's unhealthy. Because when you're in fear, your immune system stops working, 25% of it. Because if it did, you got damaged, you wouldn't be able to escape, because the last thing you want is an inflamed knee joint because you've just been hurt.
Yeah.
You know, you still need to be able to run away before your body inflames your joint, so you stop moving so you can heal it. So fear is natural, fear is great, but fear is meant to be transitory, except it isn't. Because the way we've been taught, and this goes generation after generation, if our parents are lost in their egos and their heart hardly gets looking, then they're not going to be very kind and understanding and appreciative and empathetic when we do something they don't like. They want to wallop us, give us a quick wallop. How dare you behave like that? They still have a bonding attachment with us, which is a genetic thing, which is important. Otherwise, no one would be born, right? I mean, if you're really that, if you were that bad as a child, they'd kill you. They'd say, oh, fuck that. So we're genetically programmed to look after our kids.
Yeah.
But we need more than that. We need love. So, and when we're born, we are born beautifully. We are born with love. Little children, think of a little child when he's born, you look at their eyes, they're full of joy, full of laughter. The world is wonderful. Everything's amazing. And then by the time they hit 2, 3 years old, they start to become devious and liars and untrustworthy and vicious and bullish, because their parents haven't woken up to themselves. And so they've imbued their children with the way that they themselves are damaged. So their damage gets transferred to the child. Yeah. And so that child, that light, that fragment of soul falls asleep. It becomes unconscious. So the human being, they've got a soul interacting, but it's unconscious. This is why we need to rise above 200, so that we start to become conscious, so that our soul wakes up. Because what we are is souls, and it is the soul within us that needs to wake up to experience life from the heart. Yeah, and that's what's important. And this is why the true aliens are here, because they recognize that we are evolved souls, that our souls, it's not that we are nothing. We're just egos, but we do have a fragment of soul, and we have a soul beneath that, and we have a potential. We have the potential to express our soul. So, so that's why they're here, and that's what we need to do. So the critters, they interfere with this. They've been interfering with this process for 3.5 million years. What should have been a straightforward, we come into the world, we're laughed, kindness, beautiful world, love with everything around us, everyone around us, and we grow up, and our souls evolve with us. But for the 3.5 million years, we would experience fear, and the fear becomes accumulative, because every new moon and every full moon, we get churned up. Every new moon, our mind begins to prod the emotions. Yeah. And so we've been nobbled. As human beings, we've been nobbled. It's nobody's fault, but we've been nobbled. And anyone who stays on this earth will continue to be nobbled, because those low-level critters that connect with us from the moon, via the moon, and the moon is the center of gravity. if you like. And although they're not dimensionally in the moon, that is their focus, and we are right next to us. And it's no time. There's no distance.
Yeah.
And so we are at the mercy of these critters. We are at the mercy of fear. And it is not an easy thing to wake up. We're doing it. And it's, like I say, there's very, very few of us right now, but there is many, many of you who have, for many, many thousands of years, not just in this time, but previous lifetimes. I mean, not previous lifetimes, I mean like previous cataclysms, because I'm going back a few cataclysms. There are many souls here now who have been reincarnating from way before the last and previous to that cataclysm. This is why there's so many of us right now, because this is the moment when we get off planet. This is the moment when you get to escape from this sick, horrible planet.
Yeah,
this is a damage. This planet, we are damaged. The planet is damaged. The solar system is damaged. The sun is damaged. We're all damaged in different ways. Time to move on. The moment is now. We've got 24 years to do this. The time has come to truly become, and when I say truly become spiritual, I don't mean all this, I believe in angels and my little tarot cards and whatever. That isn't going to lift you anywhere. If you want to truly be lifted, you have to be lifted by self-forgiveness and love. It's the only currency. Everything else is a distraction. There's the only thing that matters. Everything else is a distraction. Forget about astral travel and, no. Self-love, self-forgiveness, forgive others. This is the only currency. Love. That's all there is. Everything else is a distraction. Honest. Yeah. Maybe I should stop there unless you got some questions for me.
No. I mean, I totally agree. It's interesting you say that, you say people are incarnating now. Is that the difference that we see? Is that why not a lot of us, the ones that can see, everyone else looks like robots, and we're like, why don't they get this? What is it? Because we're just, I don't know, is that because we've come from a time before,
let me share,
the archons were in the moon, the critters? And so we're not used to that.
Let me share. Right now, although 98% of the world is asleep, most of those who are asleep, or a large proportion of those who are asleep, or a percentage of those who are asleep, because some of them are still to be born, they're already, in terms of their soul, they're ready. The problem is we are all born to damaged families, and we've got karma. Yeah, karma means that previous incarnations, previous fragments are asleep. They never woke up because we have been born into barbaric families since time immemorial. It is really hard to wake up when your childhood is animalistic, when your childhood is full of negativity, and where love is so little, where indoctrination has been so pervasive in so many cultures. It's really hard to wake up. So even right now, there's many people who are ready to wake up, but their childhood is damaged. We all have damaged egos, right? We all have damaged personalities. We've all grown up with damage. It's how to wake up. And that is, there's many souls which have incarnated. There is 1,600 of us who have incarnated right now. And there is no guarantee that all of us 1,600 will wake up. Because when we're born to circumstances which damage us, and we have to wake through that. We have to wake, we have to climb through all the shit of our childhood. We have to let it all go. We have to move beyond, yeah? We have to move beyond what's inside us and what's outside us in our communities. It's no mean feat. It's really, really hard. It's taking me, guys, it's taking me 60 years. I was really, really lucky. I woke up in 2001, in 9/11. That was the first, I woke up to what people now call waking up. I woke up then. That's when I began to look around and realize, hold on a minute, I'm being telling narratives which are not true. What else isn't true? That's when I began to question. So that was my beginning of waking up, but I didn't truly wake up till I was 60. To be honest, I was 62. I was 62. I'm now 67 something. So it took me a lifetime to wake up to who I am meant to be. And I'm still working on this. I'm not there. I'll always have an ego. I'll always be Sal. You know, that will never change. I have my moments. But we forgive ourselves.
Yeah, well, we're all
human. We
human,
understand that we have damaged egos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And forgiving other people
that's
too,
what we're
like,
do.
you know, understanding everyone else has got their own stuff and they all came from damaged families. And this is the thing about blame, right? Who are you going to blame? If you blame your parents, well, then you've got to say, well, what were their parents like? And what were their parents like? And what were, you know, how far back do you want to go? It's much easier to just go, well, here we are. Let's just forgive it and get on. You know, everyone's damaged. Let's just learn the lesson and move forward.
Doesn't work that way. No.
Let's not do that.
Doesn't work that way. No, I know do it, but it doesn't work that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, it doesn't work that way. The problem is that we've all carried the damage.
Yeah.
But to survive, you have to remember that we're physical, emotional, and mental beings.
Yeah.
Those are the three legs of our ego.
Yeah.
And then we've got the heart, and on top of that, we've got our imagination, and then we've got the seventh chakra, which is the intuition from beyond us. So those are the higher minds, and most people don't inhabit those areas. So intuition and imagination, you know, how many people actually are in touch with their imagination? You know, it's
horrendous
because imagination. Yeah, I mean, and when
we're told it's only for kids,
it's because they have no imagination. Yeah, so you know so when we look at our parents, first of all, we have to feel, we have to experience the emotion of rage, of anger. We have to let that go before we can forgive. It's like we've got a spine inserted, a splinter. There's a splinter inside us from childhood, and it's crusted over, and it's suppurating, but it's crusted over, and it's who we are. I know it's painful, but you know, we try to forget about it. Well, if you want it to heal, you're gonna have to cut it open, experience the pain of cutting it open, extricate, clean the wound, and then let it heal normally. And the same with a human being. We have to open up our emotions, experience the emotion, experience the anger, the grief, the sadness, the envy. We have to experience it. We have to acknowledge it. And then we forgive ourselves. And this is the trick. We then focus on the other person. We see that they're damaged. And we recognize that there is an unconscious soul engaging with that body, with our friend, with our parent, with our teacher. There is a soul in there which fell asleep. They came into the world awake, and the pressures of the world sent it to sleep. And so their behavior came not from the soul, which was unconscious, but from the ego, which was unconscious. So it was a machine that was damaging us, not a human being, just a machine. And the forgiveness comes when we recognize that we do not condone the behavior of that machine, that ego, but we nevertheless forgive the soul behind that machine that never managed to become conscious. And that's how forgiveness comes. Yeah,
very good.
When we recognize the soul in each individual. We recognize that it never managed to wake up at that moment in time. And so we forgive the soul, but we do not condone the behavior of that machine. So if someone beat you, for example, and they did it with glee, you don't condone the behavior of the machine. If that machine is still awake, if that machine is still alive, if that machine is still someone close to you, then it would be foolish to forget that that machine is still in charge, that that soul is still asleep. You want to put 1,000 miles between you and that person. You don't want them in your world. So you don't condone their behavior, you forgive the soul, and you say, okay, you're still low level quality vibration. You have your life. I forgive you, I let you go, and I move on.
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
It sounds easy.
It's different to burying it, isn't it? It's a much different process to sort of, I forgive you, I'll just pretend it's not there, to actually relive it, get it out there, and then heal. So yeah, I think that's very good.
Listen, I trained as a Gestalt psychotherapy in my late 30s, early 40s. And by the time I was 60, I thought I had forgiven my mother. I thought I had forgiven the priest who beat me. My mother put me in an orphanage when I was 3. I thought I had forgiven, but every time I went to visit her, I was angry. That's not forgiveness, right? It was forgiveness in my head, but my emotions hadn't been addressed. My emotions hadn't forgiven. My emotions hadn't been expressed. And what I did is I spent 2 weeks isolated, writing a book of my childhood. I wrote everything, all my emotions, all my memories, all my perceptions. I wrote it all down, and I got my head clear. And my emotions, I expressed them and I experienced them fully. And in the process, I saw the world from my mother's perspective. And then I finally forgave her. Before I paid lip service to forgiveness, I forgave her with my head. I hadn't forgiven her with my, with my feelings.
Forgave,
I got my emotions. Yeah. So true forgiveness, to really forgive, we need to engage with our emotions. We need to express them. And we need to remember that our emotions has got nothing to do with the other person. Because if something happened 40 years ago, and I'm carrying that emotion inside of me, well, that person's moved on 40 years.
Yeah.
And I'm still carrying this. It's in me. It's got nothing to do with the other person.
They're not thinking about you. Yeah, I know. It's like people say that they're living rent-free in your head, because they don't care. You're the one that's doing the damage to yourself. So, that's the other thing, I guess, that we need to sort of understand, is that by staying in that state, all we're doing is keeping ourselves down and damaging ourselves. So, why not give the other way, at least a chance. And writing is also a good one for anyone watching. If you're wondering, how do I get these emotions out and everything, writing is a great way to do it. Just write down your experiences, let it flow, don't hold back, and you don't have to publish the book. You can write it and burn it if you want to, because it's just about you. It's a personal experience. That's great. I mean, some very good points there.
Let me
on
share
forgiveness.
Let me share something on writing.
Yep.
Like I said, we've got a physical body, we've got a mental body, we've got an emotional body.
Yep.
And it is the mental body, the rules and regulations, that constrains our emotions and says, no, you mustn't go there, put it to one side, don't behave like that. Yeah. So the mental body is the problem. And the thing about writing is that you engage with your physical body. The act of writing by hand, it's got to be by hand. You can't do it on the computer.
Typing.
You've got to write it hand. Yeah, no, it's got to be handwritten. the process of doing that sends the mind into a lull space. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. So it actually,
So, and because you sort of and because you're doing it within your own space, the mind then doesn't censor in the same way. It recognizes that you're doing it in a safe space. And so the more you write, the more the emotions will surface in a way that they wouldn't if you were to engage with another person.
very good. Yeah.
This is by and large. This is a sort of generalizing, but I would recommend this to everybody. Write your childhood story. Just but you've got to be free of interruptions for hours on end. Write your childhood story. Write everything, and then say to yourself, "I will burn this at the end." Whether you burn it or not, you can make a decision at the end. But you start with the premise that you will show it to no one and that you will burn it. That gives you the freedom for full expression. And then secondly, gaze at a mirror, gaze at your eyes. So look deep into your own eyes and just, who am I? You know, what's in there? And you'll be amazed as you gaze deeply into your own eyes. You'll be amazed how much emotion there is behind. You'll be amazed how much can surface from deep down. Because, you know, most of us, we have wells, you know, a well of water, you know, like big well filled with grief, with sadness. There is so much emotion stashed in so many of us. And this emotion is all over the body. You know, emotional charges, they're what creates structural imbalances within us. You know, so, how are you? Yeah, I'm all right. You know, that's about 20 years worth in there. You know, you're back, oh, my back's done. Yeah, that was last week. So
holding on to stuff.
Really, the trick to being healthy is to let go of all this emotion. Literally.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean,
there's more to it than that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we just know, right? Unhappy people are just unhealthier. But yeah, so there you go. I mean, that's two good techniques. Write a book about your childhood with the intention to burn it, and stare it into your own eyes, and literally just stare and look. You don't do it. Just see what happens and see what comes up. And again, maybe do this in a bathroom with the door shut. Maybe have the shower running so no one can hear you. But
but gaze with soft eyes.
Soft eyes.
Yeah. So notice your eyes and soften your eyes as you gaze. So you're gazing at yourself softly, gently, lovingly. Okay. I'll tell you what, as soon as you start looking lovingly at yourself,
everything changes.
The Niagara Falls and stuff.
It all comes out. Nice. But that's what we need, right? We all need a bit of cleansing at the moment, you know, get all that stuff out of us. Better out than in, as they say. So there you go.
Absolutely. It's the only way to rise in minutes of consciousness.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think, you know, we can see this.
Okay, that is the secret.
We can see it on a big scale at the moment. Everyone is talking about cleansing and letting go. So it's definitely, and we've got the time, guys, you know, we've got the time, right? You know, we've all got more time than we had a year ago. So spend it wisely.
You certainly have over there in Australia.
Exactly. It's all here. So there you go. So I'll leave. Sal has a YouTube channel and a website, and he's also got a book out, which he mentioned. So we'll leave all the links to that below. Definitely go check out his work, see what he's up to. And I'll leave the link. He's just put up, like he mentioned, a recent video on souls and things like that. So go check that out as well. And we're actually going to get Sal back in a week, and we're going to do a bit of healing and talk about a bit of healing on me. Get this arm going.
Yeah, I got to say, I don't do healing. Okay, I don't. No. Let's be clear. I don't do healing. I'm actually going to do a little bit video on the nature of healing. But what I do is I balance the body. I balance you. I balance physically, mentally, emotionally, and often as a process of that, things come out.
Things happen.
And
Sounds
if you're
great.
game, then we'll see.
I'm game.
Mind
Yep.
you,
I'm
I'm
definitely
not sure
game.
whether, I'm not sure whether it was a good idea talking about this right now, because you might want to sort of wait
Cut that
till
out.
because you might want to do, well, you might want to do the video. You might want to do the, like, let's say we have the session,
Okay.
and you might decide that there are bits of it you don't actually want
Yeah.
to
To show. Yeah.
you know, if something intense comes up, you might not want that. You may be okay, but you may not want to be that vulnerable to the group at large.
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally think that it is a mistake not to be vulnerable, but I honor the fact that, you know, not everyone's ready to really be
Put it
totally
out
open
there.
as to what's going on in their internal world. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely. There we
but
go.
at least you can have a chat.
we'll be back here. So yes, thanks again, for your time, Sal. All the links below, guys, and we'll definitely have Sal back soon for a bit more of a chat. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for letting me speak.
My
all
pleasure.
the best to all of you.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, and we'll talk in a week.
You too.
Great.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Thanks,
Bye.
Sal. See you, mate.